This is Key Point. We are live on 3FM 92.7, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. Now, this week, the unfortunate happened with now what we got to know is that the death toll as a result of the renewed clashes in Bawku has risen to 5. Now, this was after the Member of Parliament for the Bawku Central Constituency gave us this information. But this is how it started. This tragic incident in the Upper East region, specifically Bawku, initially claimed 1 life. 5 other persons had sustained injuries during a sporadic shooting 3 days ago. Now, according to police sources, the incident unfolded around Zongo, near the Bawku police station, about 12:30 p.m. on Wednesday. The deceased has been identified as 60-year-old Musa Saidu. Those injured include Fidal Abdullahi, 17 years old, Sumaila Munira, 38 years old, Amidu Bugri, 40 years old, Bukari Saidu, 50 years old, and Kamal Sadat, 19 years old. Then we got to know of another killing in Bolgatanga. You see, this is how the conflict is evolving. Now it's spreading to other areas within the region. So a lecturer of the Bolgatanga Technical University was also killed. And there's that suspicion that it is even linked to what's happening in Bawku. Then on Thursday, we heard of 3 other killings as well. So it's brought the number, in fact, the death toll to 5. Before we went to bed yesterday, we got information that a bus carrying about 45 students of Presbyterian Nursing Training College, Bawku, had also been attacked by 2 gunmen on motorbikes near Binduri in the Upper East region. The Bawku Central Member of Parliament is joining us now on the telephone. Mama Yarega. Good morning to you, Zaraga. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Let me just indicate that because of the security situation there as well and some issues with connectivity, he was supposed to join us on Zoom, but we can make do with the phone. First of all, let's establish this, that the bus carrying the 45 students of the Presbyterian Nursing Training College that was attacked by 2 gunmen on motorbikes near Binduri. Now, what's the latest to this? That is, if you have information.
Yeah, that has been reported as an incident that occurred yesterday. We are still trying to ascertain the identity of the people involved, but it has been confirmed that such an incident did take place yesterday.
Hello?
It has been confirmed that an incident like that occurred yesterday.
Okay, but we understand some of the nursing trainees sustained some injuries, correct?
Yes, they did. It's not fatal, but some sustained injuries, but they've all been moved to Bolgatanga. And because I'm not in Bolgatanga, I'm not able to confirm their condition now.
Okay. But do we know how many of them sustained injuries?
No, I don't know how many. You know, it was a moving bus, so okay. I don't know how many.
And were the injuries as a result of gunshots fired or other related incidents?
Well, the report I got is that it's gunshot related, but you know, in situations like that, there will be a stampede in the vehicle, and so others will step on others and all that. But, you know, we will ascertain the full details later and see what we can do about their condition.
Okay. Now, we see this conflict taking very worrying or concerning turns or development. We see that now it is spreading to other areas within the region. So this one happened in Binduri. We also heard of a lecturer who was killed in Bolgatanga as well. What, in your view, could be accounting for this nature, this new development with the conflict spreading to other areas in the region?
Well, I mean, this is not the first time this is not the first time it is happening that way. It has been happening in some, I mean, there have been reported incidents in some districts other than Bawku. It happened in Fusga, it happened in Walewale, it happened in Bolga, it happened in Binduri. It's very worrying development, very unfortunate development. Even in Accra, it has been happening in Accra. It happened in, there were skirmishes in Sharma. So these are worrying developments, and so we need security agencies to step up their efforts to monitor this situation and then try and then bring it under control. But like I keep saying every day, we need to deal with the underlying issues, because that really is the matter that we should deal with. If we deal with that, then the manifestations are matters that I believe can be handled.
I see. You talk about the underlying issues. You have raised concerns about the activity of the military personnel deployed to Bawku. Why exactly?
Well, I mean, for the military personnel, I think that 2 days ago they went to attack. I mean, they apprehended some young people and then ended up killing 3 young men in Sabongari area. And the circumstances that I feel strongly about, because they had arrested these boys. If you arrest somebody, why would you kill the person? Even if the person has committed an offense that you have evidence about, you should send the person to the police station, lock the person up, and then have us prosecute that person. So the attitude of the military is something that I have been condemning and asking their commanders to rein in their men, because, I mean, the Ghana Armed Forces have a very enviable reputation as one of the very professional outfits that, has gained some international, respect for their excellence in peacekeeping missions. So if you're able to, perform so well in other countries when you're there resolving conflicts, why in your own country do you treat your own citizens the way that they are treating the people in Bawku? So those are the issues that I have raised, and I want Parliament to go into this matter, because, it's been happening, and because of the conflict situation there, there's been some level of tolerance of their misconduct, but the excesses are becoming too much. So we need to set up and demand accountability even from the military. So those are the issues that we are raising.
Now, you talk about these 3 young men who were, as you indicated, arrested by the military 2 days ago. What exactly were they arrested for? What crime?
That's the point. They were actually, from the report I got from family members and those who were around there, they were just sitting there and having a conversation. Normally, these young people have what they call bases, where they sit and then just converse, usually under trees. The whole day they sit there, they chat. So it's their meeting point. And so these young people were sitting there when the soldiers just came there, and there were 4. One ran away and told that they tried to shoot at him, and then fortunately they missed their aim. And then the 3 were apprehended by the soldiers. They beat them And then the assemblyman for the area came and then pleaded with the soldiers, tried to intervene. And they ignored him. And then later on, everybody went into pushing curfew time or something. No, but once soldiers are on, everybody flees into their homes. So later on, people had gunshots in the direction of where the soldiers were holding the boys. Then, when they came out, they saw that they had shot the boys. So this is just clear murder. I mean, they clearly just murdered these boys. And that is why I'm very, very upset. The women yesterday embarked on a demonstration and went to occupy the camp of the military in Bawku in protest. Then the soldiers came again, beat them, and then fired gunshots. Some women got injured. We took them to the hospital to treat them. So those are the things that the soldiers have done. I'm meeting with their commanders today to try and see how we can engage and try and get an atmosphere that fosters peace and cooperation.
Okay, so you're meeting with the commander in charge of the military deployment in Bawku today?
Yes, I will.
Okay, now let's take a look at the protest, the peaceful protest by the women in Bawku that you talk about. Stay with me. Don't go as yet. So as we got information yesterday, a group of women in Bawku marched to the residence of the commander in charge of the deployment in Bawku to also seek answers as to what led to the death of these 3 young men. Because as you have heard Mama Yarga talk about, that they were apprehended by the military and the next time they heard they had been shot. So they needed some information from him. So they went to his residence with placards and others also. In fact, they read a full statement to the press there yesterday. But at a point, they were dispersed by warning shots from the military, these women, when they went to the commander's residence. Take a look. We would show you that in a bit. But Honorable Mama Yaga, before I let you go, because I know it's this morning you're in the place as well as we speak, there is that concern that has been raised that what really triggered this? Because is it the chieftaincy issue that is still lingering even after the declaration or the directive by the president 3 years ago concerning who is the rightful leader or the king in that particular area, or it is another underlying matter which has led to this recent development?
Well, it's everything. It's the chieftaincy issue. It is for having so many work there was
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, I was losing you a bit. You were saying
yes,
that...
I'm saying that it is everything. It's the chieftaincy issue. It is the proliferation of light weapons, and it is also retaliatory action by, one side against the other, and so many other things. And then, of course, also it is just the lack of the political will of the president and the NPP government to do the right things. They say things but don't do them. So that has led to a loss of confidence in the government and the way that the government is handling the matter. They have referred it to Otufo to mediate, and we're all waiting to hear from Otufo in terms of what the progress of work is. I know personally that he's working very hard at it. But like any complicated matter, probably takes time to resolve. But we urge him to accelerate his efforts. The reason is that he is perhaps the most revered person around here, and so his weight can have an impact on the resolution of issues.
When you talk about government commitment to dealing with the matters in Bawku, I want to find out what else can be done, because I recall that in 2021, specifically on the 29th of December, this statement was issued by the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs at the time, and it read that the President had instructed the Minister for Chieftaincy at the time, Kojo Kum, to draw urgently the attention of all stakeholders in the Bawku impasse to desist from actions and pronouncements that can further escalate tensions and violence in the area. Claims that Bawku does not have an overlord and attempts to install a new Bawku Naba ran contrary to the already determined position by the Supreme Court on the matter. And the status of the paramount chief of Bawku has been settled by the Supreme Court of Ghana in the celebrated case in April 2003. Indeed, the judgment of the Supreme Court, the highest court of the land, are meant to be complied with and not subject to the opinions of any individuals or group to pick and choose whether to abide by the judgments or not. It continues that as a matter of fact, until and unless a decision of the Supreme Court is varied or set aside, that decision is binding on all persons. And so essentially, the list of all the members of the Upper East Regional House of Chiefs at the time, with its regional house at Bogatanga, states that the paramount chief of Bawku, the current occupant of the skin, is Naba Asigri Abugrago Azoka II. So that has been established, at least based on this statement by the presidency through the chieftaincy ministry in 2021. So why? What else has to be done?
Well, what has to be done is for government to follow with action to enforce that public pronouncement. You will recall that recently there was an reported enslavement of somebody in Nalerubu as chief of Bawku. So that runs contrary to government's own position on the matter. And for that matter, people were expecting that government would be very high-handed in dealing with the matter to conform to its own pronouncements and statements. But unfortunately, I think they don't see that action being taken by government. So that has led to some loss of confidence and some feeling that there isn't a political will to really follow through with these public pronouncements. And on, there are contestations, there are actions that undermine the authority of the chief as the president himself recognizes. And then there's very little action to just ensure that there's respect for that position. So that is the underlying issue that needs to be dealt with, and then we'll believe that if that is done, it will send the right kind of signals. But it's not being done. So that is what I say, what I mean when I talk about the underlying issues that need to be addressed. And once that is done, we will be able to resolve the issues.
Mayaga, thank you very much for joining us. I would leave you to also get into the constituency. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mayaga is Member of Parliament for the Bawku Central constituency, joining us on the telephone on this matter. So, well, a number of things established now, at least we have some further detail to what had been earlier reported. the death toll now risen to 5. And the unfortunate incident, given the details that Mama Yarga has given us to what led to the killing of these 3 young men, and his meeting with the commander in charge of the deployment of the military in Bawku as well. Prof, I'll start off with you on this matter because there is also the concern about the involvement of politics in this. See, when the NDC is in power, one faction feels emboldened. Yes. When the MPP is in power, another faction feels emboldened as well. The Mampusis and the Kusasis, as we see in this matter. In fact, 4 days ago, there was an incident at Aveno, here, in a circle, Aveno. We have some Mampusis and Kusasis living there. There was some violent incident there, some gunshots. Wow. Yes. And then, some time ago, another incident related at Ashaiman as well. So the conflict is taking very worrying turns and shapes, development, and spreading to other parts of the country. We've also monitored situations in Kosa, the area, Zebila, Binduri, Pusiga, all of these areas. Issues are happening there as well, related to this conflict. Prof, your take on this, please.
Yes, Alfred, thank you. I have talked to a couple of Mampusis and then Kusasis, and I've also talked to Mosis who are neutral, but they stay in Bawku. And one thing about our job as professors is that we talk about what we know, and evidence is really key. Unfortunately, when you heard Mahama Yarega speaking, you could see the distress, in his voice about what is going on. This is our conflict. Because a conflict at Bawku affects all Ghana. We know the food that comes from there. We know they are all over the country. So it can happen in Accra, it can happen in Koforidia, it can happen in Sunyana, or even Jessica, because we still have Mampusis and then Kusasis there. The difficult part we have here is that from history and what that I've seen from the writings is that when a certain political party comes to power, then you have some people who start this because they see that their era and an opportunity, an opening to fight, for their recognition of that land. But tradition is really interesting the way it works. I'm a lawyer and I know, how tradition works. When he was talking about enforcement. There has been a Supreme Court ruling in April 2003. And the Supreme Court ruling said that Azuka now, who is the Bawku Naba, is the legitimate, king, and he's got 15 other sub-chiefs, which he appoints each one of them. And there's not a single one who is a Mampusi. So we are talking about the Kusasis are the majority, over 60%. They own the land. In fact, they don't even sell the land to the Mampusis. And the Mampusis have an area that they live. I will provide a name for you very soon because I have all the facts here. So what is happening is that there's also the traditional piece of it. So besides the political thing, there's also the tribal and the traditional piece. They have what they called that there is no a single Mampusi Tendana or Mampusi who don't sacrifice to any of the land of the gods. So the Tendana sacrifice to the land of the gods. So you own the land and then you do some sacrifices. That's either pouring libation or however the tradition that they do, you sacrifice to the land. It is the Mampusis that do that, but the Kusasis that do that because they own the land and they do sacrifices to the land. But the Mampusis live in an area which is the center of the commercial of Bawku. So we're talking about people who don't own the land and then the Kusasis will not sell the land to them, but they live at the commercial center of Bawku, an area that they live. Now, when I'm not going to mention the political party when they come to power because the MP himself had not mentioned it. And we know that the current vice president is a Mampusi. It's an established father we all know. And then the Mahama Yarega is a Kusasi, but even though he traces his patrilineal side to the Mampusi, so he comes from either both ways, which helps him in his campaign, whatever it is there. I am pleading to the people of the North because all the people that I talk to, what they are saying is that if politics is out of it, and then they allow the police and the military to do their job, they think there will be peace. Okay. Because the police and the military are there to do their jobs. And if we allow them without any political interference, then they will be able to do their job.
Okay.
From Kufuor's time, there have been pressure. Kufuor there have been pressure. But I'm told that when a certain government is in power, they remain calm because one tribe is the majority. So the one that is minority knows that, no, they can't push their way through because these guys are more than us. And our party is not in power. Because traditionally, Alfred, we have a UP tradition for one of the political parties and then a CPP NDC tradition for the other one. And that everybody at the North knows. Secondly, they also know each other. So they know where everybody stays in Bawku, and then they know where each one belongs to. So they know each other. That means they're telling me that when there's a gunshot, they know where it's coming from, and the quarters and the boys where it's coming from.
So how can peace really?
See, peace can come in when the MP talk about enforcement. If Supreme Court have made a ruling and we can't enforce it, you see, I am pained by where we have great laws. Kofi talked about even when a minister or an MP want to do business, the speaker have to be aware of it and approve it. Do we do it? No. So we have lofty ideas in our constitution, and when it comes to enforcement, we don't enforce them. But the biggest pillar of any advanced country is enforcement. Because you know, you live in US for a while. You did your master's there in Madison.
Yeah.
When a police officer gets you, you are in trouble because he's enforcing the law. But why are we not allowing the police and the military there on the ground to enforce the law to make peace? Because when you see them, even at the airport, when you see TSA and you have drugs on you or you see the sniffing dogs, you start panicking. Their presence alone, the presence of the police and the military will maintain calmness in the area. But this is a political season. And when it comes to a political season, that is where the scaffold there, the conflict rises. So we should tone the political language down. The red meat that we give to people and people the chance that if my government to come to power, then I have a chance of being recognized. We should do away with it and allow tradition to go on, because traditionally they have their own way on installing their chiefs. The Supreme Court have come in to say that this man Azoka is the land overlord of the place. Let's allow it to be. And we should not entertain the thought for other political followers to believe that because it is my party, I have to find a way to twist my leaders' hands so that they will somehow recognize me over the others. Until that stops, the Bawku conflict will never stop. So we have a Supreme Court ruling. Let's make sure that whichever party is in power, we enforce it, because the Supreme Court is the apex court of the land, right? Their decision is final. And if anybody has any reservation about the Supreme Court ruling, they should go back to the court and make an appeal. Other than that, politicians should stay off Bawku, because once they stay off, we have a Supreme Court ruling of who is supposed to be the overlord. And that's clear. The president has affirmed it, the Minister of Chieftaincy Affairs have affirmed it, the Minister of Interior and Defense, they've all affirmed that this man, by law, he is the landlord. He's the overlord of the place. I'm not a fan of seeing this issue being referred to as Santehene, because I believe that they should be able to solve their own problems. You know, when you bring other kingdoms to your kingdom, it means you are reducing the value of your kingdom.
But when it got into a point where there has to be a mediator.
They are brothers and sisters. You live together, and you are bringing in somebody from outside Kumasi to come and solve your problem. Well, you see, for where I come from, you know, US, we are straight shooters. We say things as it is. We don't cut corners. And I don't owe any political party anything when I'm talking. I am for Ghana. This country should move forward. In the 21st century, conflict fighting among your brothers and sisters. If you kill all Mampusis or you kill all what Jakusasis, then what happens? What next? They are your brothers and sisters. If you go to Israel, we have the Samaritans, right? And then the native Israelites. Do you know that the Samaritans are you know, half Israelites and half, because it's Israelites who have had relations with these people and they've had kids. But because you are half from that field, they think that you are not a true Israelite. But you are brothers and sisters, because they are half brothers of you and half sisters. Some even marry themselves.
Okay.
My point before I conclude is that you are brothers and sisters. Bawku have its own problem of road issues, of water issues, of land issues, of hospitals issues, of schools issues. These plethora of problems should be your concern, not who should be the overlord, or because that has been ruled by the Supreme Court. And the politicians should back off from what is happening and allow the police and the military to do their job. Their presence alone will maintain peace.
The fundamental concern about the political undertones or influence in what is happening or what has been happening in Bawku as well is of major concern. But I want a quick, because this Supreme Court ruling, its implementation has also been subjected to a number of instances where challenges have been raised to it, but not a review of that decision in court. I make reference to the specific detail in the president's statement, which dated 29th of December 2021, indicating that the list of members, and I quote, of the Upper East Regional House of Chiefs, with this regional house at Bogatanga, states that the paramount chief of Bawku, the current occupant of the skin, is Naba Asigri Abugrago Azoka II, who was enskinned on the 24th of April 1984, and thus became the president of the Koso Traditional Council. That matter has been settled. Is that the case?
Mr. Kansi, this matter, let's put it this way, because right now tensions are very high. I'm not open to doing a discussion of the Supreme Court decision, right? Because I may just end up inflaming one side or the other. So I just want to say that let's manage the situation now first. You see, yeah, people's lives and property, liberties, etc. first. So when the situation calms down, then we can look at that. I only can state, at least for the information of the public, that the way the Supreme Court decision is being, so that one is a fact without going in. It's not a full decision determining rights.
Right.
No. All I know is that they went there, then there were some issues, and then the case had to be withdrawn. So it's not the normal Supreme Court decision, 40 pages, 100, and the rest, dealing decisively with both sides. No. It was a technical matter. So it's not a conclusive judgment. So yes,
that is what I just want us to.
So let's get that very clear. It's a few lines. A few lines.
You cannot come back.
Yes, so I don't. So that is it. I just don't want to go. A few lines. So it was a technical matter. So for now, let's deal with the matter as a matter of peace.
Yes.
Because people's lives and properties, etc., are in danger, and I'm especially pained. Listen, if it's true that the assemblyman came out to beg on behalf of the young men. All right? Yes, some are 50.
As the MP.
Yes, some are 50. When I say young, okay, so a middle-aged man. And then, so the point is that the assemblyman then had to go back to his house. So at what point were these people holding guns? Because the first story we heard was that these guys shot back at the military, and that's why the military
gunned them. Of gunfire.
Gunfire, yes. So people who were arrested, assemblyman came in to intercede for them. The military wouldn't listen. The assemblyman had to leave. So at what point did they go back to get guns and came back to face the military? This thing must stop. Not too long ago, the military did the same thing, just went to Ashaman, brutalized our citizens, arrested over 184, made citizens to drink what? Gutter, water from the gutters. Such this is what unhealthy water, even that is putting it charity. Poisoned our citizens, and arrested over 100 what? About 184. Such brazen disregard for human rights. Why? Why? You had your turn. You were in charge of this government in the what? In this country. The 70s and 80s up to 92. What did you do? You think you are disciplined? I mean, come on. Your military came, they were also very corrupt. So why? Every time you go, the military discipline. What discipline? If it worked, the time you had a Champon, a Kufu, etc., then later Rawlings said, if your military style stuff could work, why didn't you transform Ghana? If it could work. People were shot for corruption. Look at how Rawlings, the three former presidents, etc., people were shot for corruption. Today, is corruption not even worse than what Rawlings came and made? So it must teach the military that, listen, the fact that you have guns don't mean that you can just unleash the guns on citizens like that. Listen, must stop. What kind of training is this? You go and they still have that mentality. Remember when the Ashaman matter came out, I told you that I was in Burma camp. I met a very senior military officer. I won't mention the name. And the mentality shows that, look, they will continue killing us. So citizens, we have to rise up. The kind of military training that we give this our military is dangerous. Because that's the mentality. People who have read masters, or even up to master's level, when they speak, they say that Ghanaians are undisciplined. They have to discipline us. When the 70s, 80s, over 20 years of our independence was under military regime, what did you do? Could you keep the ills? So it tells you that that brute force won't work. You haven't even fought any proper wars in Ghana. Look at the US. They have fought wars, civil wars, killed millions of their fellow citizens. Today, they don't think that's the way to go. But you still get up and you think that you take ordinary citizens and kill them. Take ordinary citizens and kill them. You think that will stop anything?
So that's why the Member of Parliament is asking for a parliamentary inquiry.
Yes, let's go into it proper, because this Ashama matter has hardly died. And then you go into a community and start killing citizens. At what point? People you had arrested, an assemblyman came to beg for them. You refused. So at what point did you release them that they went home, got guns, and came back to fight you? At what point? When was that?
See, Kofi Adams, you see, if there has to be a parliamentary inquiry, it is your committee, the Defense and Interior Committee, will have to lead the charge in this matter. When I look into a quick research into what has been happening with respect to the deployment of the military detachment in Bawku, apart from what happened a few days ago, which on record they are being accused of their involvement, at least based on what the women who protested yesterday said. And I think the video of the women is ready now. Let's take a look at exactly the concerns of the women who went to the premise. In fact, this is the residence of the commander there. Take a look.
Enam be kwa ni pianta difference abo ke nam bor ba wom enam bor ba wom ka so ye say la ke mana so dia la te nam ba se dia me ka ba wom bo dinna ma bo ba sunga ya ke lembe na le nyira.
This was when they were marching to the residence. Now they addressed the press when they got to the residence after they were dispersed by some warning shots fired by the military. Take a look.
In recent days, the presence of the military in Bawku has turned from a promise of security into a source of suffering. Innocent lives, including young men sitting in their homes after supper, have been tragically lost.
It's heartbreaking and very disappointing that people that we expect they will be protecting our lives and properties are the same people who are taking our lives. And at least the least they could have done was to arrest these people if truly these people committed a crime.
This is not the first time or the second time or the third time the military invade our community and kill us with impunity without any reason. This is take them away from Bawku. We don't need them. Yes. Take them away from Bawku. We don't need them.
Yes, Regana man say one yi soldier for ni nyina. Amfiri Bawku sasi. Yan kasa sa omujaya.
We plead with government for the withdrawal of soldiers from Bawku. We are capable of handling our own security.
Well, so, Mr. Kofi Adams, if you see in 2022, specifically on the 2023, I beg your pardon, on the 1st of February, 10 persons were reportedly killed in Bawku, and the residents accused the military. Just around the same time. Between January and March from 2021 to date, we see similar incidents. In 2022, on the 16th of March, another incident happened that the Ghana Armed Forces issued a statement detailing exactly what happened. If you recall, in 2023, the statement that the Ghana Armed Forces issued used the word neutralize. And we were on this platform, same time, when the neutralization of these persons, as indicated by the Ghana Armed Forces, was subjected to a lot of conversation. Then we understood that based on the military terminology, neutralization actually meant, you know, some sort of form of shoot to kill, kind of, yes. And the military detailed why they did what they did. The Member of Parliament, Mama Yarega, also did indicate that there's an issue of proliferation of small arms in addition to the chieftaincy conflict. So this is not just about the conflict, the chieftaincy issue again. There's some criminal activity, proliferation of small arms has also been one of the major issues identified in this conflict. So if there has to be a parliamentary inquiry, what should be the focus of this inquiry?
Well, Alfred, it's so difficult discussing this matter from the angle of chieftaincy through to what it is that we are faced with today. But of course, you can't rule out the issue of what the chieftaincy disturbances. But like has been largely indicated, some level of pronouncements have been made both by the courts and some authorities. It is true that the various parties, and whether they are in government or not, give a certain inkling to one side to act in one way or the other. But clearly, I should say that post-2016 general elections, one side have come to face the reality, where, for example, it is on record that His Excellency the President's chamber, his firm, represented one side. And so the expectation was that maybe what President Kufuor could not do should be done by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, because at least he represented them. But he was now confronted with the reality, and he has to allow the reality to prevail. And I'm told he made some direct pronouncements that they can't do much beyond what it is that the courts have said. But you see, unfortunately, you have the president make some commitments, but you equally also have others whose actions and inactions, whose political interest sometimes cloud all this positioning that has been taken by the commander-in-chief. Alfred, not too long ago, I think just last year, during the Samampede Festival, when the Minister for Chieftaincy, Culture and Religious Affairs went there, he is alleged to have read a speech which he claimed was reading and presenting on behalf of the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. I think a day or two later, then he issued a statement asking for forgiveness and that he went there and represented His Excellency the President and not Dr. Bawumia. The question is, why will a minister of state, for that matter, a minister responsible for a sector that had issues even in that area, go for a program and in his clear mind present himself as reading a speech on behalf of the Vice President when clearly the Vice President did not send him there or did not ask him? What was it that he said? Either which made the Vice President uncomfortable or the presidency uncomfortable or comfortable, for which reason now he has to issue another statement saying he did so on behalf of the president. So it should tell you that even leaders that we've given responsibility to help resolve the matter are doing so and introducing political interest. Because I cannot analyze the circumstances of this situation without asking, why will the minister want to do that? Was it because he thought he had a platform and therefore this is now the candidate for my party. So in performing that exercise, which should have been on behalf of the president who appointed him, let me say I am doing it on behalf of the vice president because he is a candidate who may benefit directly. What happened? For which reason he now have to issue a statement countering his own words. We must watch all these actions and inactions from our leaders. But you've asked the right question as to what should be the focus. Of course, Bawku is a business hub, not just for Upper East, but I must say even for the country and then the northern part of what? Ghana. It's a huge business sport, and a lot could be gained from having a stable Bawku. And so, as a country, as institutions and arms of government, we must all be interested in having lasting peace in Bawku, because it will benefit us.
Indeed.
Because just about 15 to 10 kilometers from the borders of Ghana after Bawku is this terrorist group that is chasing us up, that is following and breathing down on us. And we are called upon every day to spend scarce resources to have to protect that situation. We cannot sit down and allow for further deterioration. Alfred, I know soldiers act under a certain level of what? Command, that if they order you, if they post you, you cannot refuse not to go.
Right.
But I want to plead with our soldiers that if you feel psychologically you are not prepared to operate in that environment and you have been posted to the 11 Mechanized Battalion, you can clearly request from your commanders for a possible reposting. Because for some of these actions, you can't explain them away. That you visit a sport, you find some young men who at least before curfew hours were gathered, I'm told, drinking their local, they brew some coffee they call attire. So they have an attire base where they were doing so. So the soldiers walked. So some who spotted them were able to escape. I think at least one was able to escape. The other three stood there and they met them. Some beatings happened there. They were arrested or so, taken somewhere. The assemblyman appeared, pleaded on their behalf. They asked him he should vanish before he himself is added to the drill. This is the report not coming from just one person, but even the member of parliament has issued a statement to that effect and signs him. So, at what point did persons that were under the control of these military persons went for arms to have exchange with them? Because they kept them for more than 2 hours. That is the report. And when issues like this come up, then you see what you have seen with women and other youth demonstrating.
Right.
And this demonstration, Alfred, just didn't happen because of just this one isolated incident. It means that it's been happening over a period, and so it's reached a point where they can no longer take it. And when it happens that way, security in that whole area will degenerate. Okay. But I want to appeal to the young persons, the women and the elders of Bawku, that they must not take the law into their own hands. I believe institutions of states and arms of government, right, including parliament, is particularly interested in helping to find a lasting solution to what is happening in Bawku.
It's a very important appeal ending on that. But it is your committee, that's the Defense and Interior Committee that you are a member of, that would also have to take charge of this matter if it has to be a parliamentary inquiry and lead that interest. But, Mr. Thompson, let me bring you at this point. It's all about the call for some level of peace and tolerance in the area, but also not glossing over the push factors. the underlying issues that has led to where we are now, as to what has to be done to ensure the deepening of the trust between the military and the people. Because now they are asking that the military be withdrawn because of what they have been experiencing. But looking at the state of affairs there, unfortunately, they cannot be withdrawn from their place. Sure. So what has to be done to be able to at least cure that mistrust continuously that we have seen?
Thank you, Alfred. I think it's very, very unfortunate for this to happen at this time, early this year. And it's unfortunate to try and meddle politics into this, because what happened from Wednesday, I don't think it's about a political leader or someone coming from Mamprusi or someone reading a statement on behalf of a vice president or a president that caused this issue. You said that. But when you're giving submissions and you bring all these things in, someone sitting there will think that, oh, then this could have caused the problem, that could have caused the problem, maybe it's part of the issues, that's why this is not being solved. The government is trying assiduously to work behind closed doors and even in the general public to make sure that we bring unity and peace within the Bawku area. This has been going on for years. Mm-hmm. And as you said, it's like every early January, there's a spark of a sort which is causing problems. Wednesday, they realized that there were some unknown gunmen who had shot into the general public somewhere around the police station, the divisional police station. That was what killed 2 people. So far, 5 are dead. Mm-hmm. That was what killed the first 2 people. So the military had to intensify its guard in the whole Bawku area. That's Mamprusi, Haziana school area and the Moziana and all those places. Whilst they were intensifying their, patrol, because there's curfew there. As we speak now, there's still curfew. Whilst they were going on the patrol, they realized that some people were smoking Indian hemp and things. So whilst they wanted to go there and check on those people, they started firing at them. From the Haziana school,
you received from where?
From the Haziana school at let me finish. I'll give you every details that you need. From the Haziana school at Sabongani, that was where those things happened from. So they had to fire back. Firing back, 3 died and 1 ran away, as they have stated. And they retrieved some AK-47. I think the police came over and took the dead bodies, and they retrieved the AK-47s that they saw over there with about 16 rounds of ammunition. And they had to move on and go and continue their duty. At that time, it was after 8. There was curfew. I don't believe that any assemblyman can come to them and come and ask or come and plead with them for, leniency to release 3 people that have been accustomed or locked or anything. I don't think the soldiers too, with all the peace going on there and what they are doing over there, would also decide that, oh, today it's a shooting spree, let's go and shoot and kill people and then do this thing. Definitely there will be sparks here and there. And we need to tread cautiously whilst dealing with this. Because you hear one story here, definitely when you go to the people today, they'll tell you another story. What we need to do, and I'm pleading with the people of Bawku, anything going on there doesn't affect only Bawku, it affects the whole of the country. Because now we need to send more resources there and try and do this. And we as leaders too, when we are pleading, we should stop trying to put political connotations into it and making the thing murkier than it should be, and trying to say that at the end of it, say that, oh, let us see how we can settle this peacefully and amicably. Definitely someone sitting there will be offended. Definitely someone that is touched by this will say that, oh, if these people are doing this, then let me also go and do that. And it would affect all of us. Because we get food from there, we get so many things from there. I am pleading, and the MP over there should be measured in some of the things he's saying. Because if you come and say that, oh, it's the soldiers that went to shoot into the people with no attack, or is the assemblyman went to plead with them without doing further and better particulars, you bring a lot of chaos within this whole system. I'm pleading. Let us all come together and see how we can solve this once and for all. They are our brothers. They are our sisters. They are our mothers. They are this, and that is why the president has kept away, saying that, oh, bringing someone from another tribe to come and solve it. maybe the president wants to keep that political angle out of it. So let us get a neutral person who is also a chief, who can also come and appeal to the people and say that, listen, at the end of it all, I'm a chief as well. There's peace in my kingdom. This and this and this is what I'm doing. Why can't you also come together? Because the only thing we are coming to do is that we are coming to rule people. If you go and kill... Yes, they have a relationship. And if you go and kill the people, who are you going to rule? And that is the bottom line of all this. Let us come together and solve this once and for all. We all need peace. And there's only peace that can bring development.
Indeed, only peace that can bring development. This one, I got a number of messages, but this one from Dr.
I wanted to say something based on what somebody sent to me from what I said, because I think that is important. Some friends that I have who are professors sent me that, you know, we should stay away from this Bawku issue because it's very complicated. The chieftaincy issue transcend beyond even Supreme Court ruling. In fact, that's why it started from 1950, and so I wanted to clear that.
In fact, that's one of the issues I wanted to bring.
Just a quick one. I don't have any interest.
Okay.
The only interest I have is peace, because I don't belong to each of the tribe. Right. I try to say that because the vice president belonged to one of them, they have to help their brother. Please let me learn. I have clear conscience. That because you see, so if my people are fighting and I come and say that, please stop, because they should all add their voice for the peace. I'm asking for peace. Okay. So then the MP should also add his voice for peace. We are all looking for peace. I didn't want to. Here's what I wanted. So I can ask for peace.
Yes. So that's not to explain yourself too much.